Are you ready?
Yeah, turn up the heat.
Are you ready?
Is he ready? Oh, yeah, he's ready.
It's go time.
Ready to go beyond the scores and stats.
I love it.
Good.
Let's bring it in. It's showtime, right?
Welcome to High on Sports.
The whole deal is like some kind of crazy game.
Exclusively on MorningShowCentral.com.
Hello and welcome to High on Sports. I'm Ralphie, and with me, as always,
Ashley.
And I am Von Erich.
and whether you are listening to us tonight on your computer or one of the many glorious apps, thank you for making High on Sports a part of your evening. If you are not on one of those many glorious apps I just mentioned, one in particular you can get is the TuneIn Radio app. It is free to download. Just install it, search MSC Radio Network, hit play, and you're listening to us on the go, wherever you may be, as long as your smartphone or tablet or smart TV is with you, then you've got us on the go. I messed around recently with one of those smart TVs. Got to check this show out on YouTube on it. It looks impressive. We were made for TV, guys. We just have that face.
Hey, I found out this all the shows on MSC are available on Xbox too.
Oh, we're on video games. Cool.
Nice.
Find me on Xbox. You mean like YouTube?
Yeah, the YouTube in Xbox, and then also the streaming, whatever it is on Xbox. The audio portion, not the video portion.
That's cool. All right, I know some Xbox people. I'm gonna have to inform about that. If you're an Xbox person, remember though, immediately after this show is everything in between, and then it's our new video game show, Unlocked Radio. So you want to check that out. But right now you're listening to High on Sports. And remember, as always, you can call the show toll free 1-888-668-0742. Email your questions or comments to shows with an S at morningshowcentral.com. You can tweet your questions at us at high_on_sports, or with the hashtag High on Sports, or with the Facebook hashtag High on Sports, because you can do that now. And remember, the Facebook, by the way, is facebook.com/High on Sports, is our fan page. Give it a like. It's fun, informative. It's a great page. Quality like right there. And get to the website, of course, highonsports.net. It's got the archive of all our past shows, my blog, and a bunch of other fun stuff. One blog piece in particular is my most recent one that I just posted right after the show ended last week, was my mock draft. And we are going to get into very shortly just how abysmally ridiculous that mock draft was. Let's get, again, that is highonsports.net. Let's get right into that here. It is round one. Let's go. All right, yeah, it's to no fault of my own, really. Let's. I'm not trying to scapegoat or something here, but why don't you show me where the really accurate mock draft is?
There was how many trades? There was what, 19?
In the first round, we're just talking first round. I got it right in front of me. I'll count this out. All right.
Just admit it. You
One,
got it wrong.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we got 9 or 10 in
Just
the
in the
first
first round?
In the first round.
And then there were some people that were traded twice.
Third.
The pick was traded to one team, and then they traded the player to someone else.
Exactly.
It was like, what, 2-3 instances where there was a double trade?
Here's the most complicated instance, I think, of the whole evening. Pick number 26, power forward Andre Robertson from Colorado, a junior out of Colorado, drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves with a pick they got from Memphis that Memphis got from Houston. Andre Robertson was traded to Golden State, who traded him to Oklahoma City. Ultimately, he should have been a Houston Rocket, but basically, if you look at it, in theory, if that pick was him regardless, which we know it wasn't, but Houston, Memphis, Minnesota, Golden State, Oklahoma. Hey, you get to end up being a Thunder at the end of the day, so that's pretty cool.
Right?
But Jesus Christ, that's like that's at least 3 different teams he went to that night. 3 different teams he went to that night.
Because he was drafted by what? What did we say?
Minnesota,
who traded him to Golden State, traded him to
Oklahoma City.
That's insane.
Yeah, wow.
Did he at least get a jersey for each one of the teams?
No, but he gets at least a hat for Minnesota. Don't know if he got anything from Golden State.
I don't think he was in Golden
I'd hold on
State
to
long
all
enough.
of it just because it's
I
interesting.
don't even think he could get on the plane to
No.
Golden State before he got.
No, he
reshipped
certainly
to-
never got anywhere because this was all that night. He
Well,
never left
I was
New York
I was
City.
joking.
Well, yeah. All right, I get you now. Well, actually, he was never in New York City. He wasn't at the draft. I don't know where he was.
And it was.
I don't know. But anyways, the point is, moving past that, the point is he definitely. I wonder if he gets any of the hats. It'd be interesting because it's not if you're there, you know, like Trey Burke. Trey Burke got drafted, but who drafted Trey Burke? The Minnesota Timberwolves, another one, drafted Trey Burke to trade him to Utah. We knew before he was picked that he was going to, whoever they picked there would go to Utah. So we knew he'd go to the Utah Jazz, but he gets the Timberwolf hat. Now, if you can, you should keep that. I just think that's interesting to
Right.
have like
I would.
that hat from this team that originally picked you. Now, if you're Andre Robertson, I want all 3 hats. I want to call whoever I have to call to be like, you know, where's my Minnesota Timberwolf hat? They drafted me. And then I was traded to Golden State, so I want my Warriors hat as well. And then obviously you get whatever free gear you want of, you know, the Thunder because you play there. So that's what I would do. But anyways, that's totally irrelevant. Let's look at some of the actual picks that we made. By the way, I was talking about how abysmal my mock draft was. I got 2 right. I got 2 out of 30. Now, let me tell you how ridiculous this is. I got the 3rd pick right. It's easy enough. Washington Wizards take Otto Porter Jr. Sure, the Wizards made their intentions pretty clear what they wanted. And the 22nd pick. I got 3 and 22. I accurately called the Brooklyn Nets making the move on Mason Plumlee out of Duke. That's it. Those 2. Everything else, not even close. I mean, 10 trades, and plus and let's not forget the one the one team here that really pulled the sort of house of cards down around everybody else and caused all this chaos in this first round was our own Cleveland Cavaliers. Anthony Bennett selected as the number 1 pick. I had in my mock, I had Anthony Bennett. Where did I have Anthony Bennett? I had Anthony Bennett 7 to the Sacramento Kings, as well as many other people.
Just goes to show.
Exactly. It goes to show this means nothing, especially in a draft like this. There was no clear-cut number 1. Nerlens Noel was supposed to be number 1. Nerlens Noel went 6 and was immediately traded from New Orleans to Philadelphia. Raise your hand if you thought Nerlens Noel would end that night as a Philadelphia 76er. Everyone's hand in the world is down right now. Just everyone. Except maybe the 76ers. That's some idea. But this is absolutely ridiculous. Let's talk about Mr. Bennett, Tony Bennett, real quick. I think it's interesting for you older folks who know musician Tony Bennett. It's kind of a weird move. I mean, to say the least.
Yeah, because
We talked about this.
Kind of stocked at power forward right
He's
now.
6'7", supposedly. That's what he's measured in at 6'7" with shoes, 6'9" in heels. But at 6'7", yeah, he's undersized for a power forward as far as height goes. He's reportedly, let me see if I can get an approximate weight here. There's a lot of rumors that he's swelled up and had trouble containing his weight with his rotator cuff surgery. He says that's not the case. 240 pounds, 109 kilograms if you're listening to this north of the border, which you might be because Anthony Bennett is the highest drafted Canadian of all time. Fun fact. From the same city, Brampton, as our own Tristan Thompson, who was, until this pick, the highest drafted Canadian of all time. The similarities just right out of the gate. And they played for the same team. So, I mean... but that's really where the similarities end, honestly. They're 2 entirely different players. Tristan Thompson came in, couldn't do a lick of offense. He's improved, obviously.
Yeah.
Greatly improved in his first 2 years here. But he was all about defense. Defense. This is a guy who's going to bring defense to this team. Anthony Bennett is the polar opposite. This guy can't play a lick of defense, but he can score. He can score damn good. Which is why he doesn't make sense to me entirely as a power forward. I think if they could get him in there as a small forward, they get him his weight down a bit and actually get him playing the 3 on a regular basis, this would be the smartest move. Take over the starting spot away from Alonzo G. But it looks like Alonzo G is going to be the starting small forward, at least to start the year. There's some reports that maybe Bennett will be eased into that role, slowly starting him out at power forward off the bench, slowly giving him more and more minutes at small forward until eventually he's given the starting role. We know Omri Caspi won't be there anymore taking him minutes. Not that he really took any up last year.
Right.
But the Cavaliers, if you haven't heard, refusing to extend a qualifying offer to him as an unrestricted free agent. He is now, or as a restricted free agent, I should say. So he is now given his walking papers and sent to go. We'll get into free agent. We'll get into free agency here in a couple minutes when we're done with the draft. But of course, today, negotiations can begin. Nothing can actually be signed until the 10th. But this is when you can start talking to people and working out deals and everything like that. Either way, though, Anthony Bennett, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think you have two number one picks on this team. They need to be on the floor together. Simple as that. However you're going to work this, I don't know if there's enough minutes to go around all these people in that one spot competing for it. Because there was also talk of Verjao getting some more power forward minutes this year. And now I don't know. And now there's rumors about Tristan Thompson maybe getting some more time at center, but I don't think it's right. I think your centers need to be Verjao and Tyler Zeller. Tyler Zeller is the only actual true center on this team now, which is kind of sad. But of course, free agency here. There's time to look around. Let's talk about something else, though. Anthony Bennett will be an interesting case. We'll keep an eye on all offseason. And there's really not a lot of speculation we can do, but I know the Cavs got a very talented guy, a high ceiling, probably maybe the most physically talented or physically best scorer probably right out of the gate of this entire draft. I mean, there's some guys who might surpass him down the road, but probably the best guy at the moment that was taken. But they did do some other moves. Let's look at this. I really like this move. Greatly underrated. Sergei Karasev from Russia is a guy the Cavs have had circled for quite some time now. And
Dude can shoot the lights out of the gym.
Actually, wait a minute. No, I got that pick right. Yes. If you don't believe me, you can go to highonsports.net and go to Ralphie's Rent. I did get Sergei Karasev right. Woo. Either way, the small forward and shooting guard out of Russia. The guy is pretty phenomenal. He's been playing professional basketball for over 2 years now. He was on the Russian national team as well. And all this, he's getting all this acclaim and success and awards in Russia, yet he's still eager to come now to the United States and said he wants to get to Cleveland as quickly as he can.
Kid.
I believe he's going to get here this year. I haven't seen anything that said he's under contract over in Russia, but I know he wasn't here at the time of Anthony Bennett's press conference and where the Cavs introduced some of their new draft picks. But I believe he's going to be getting here at some point in this offseason. Probably just trying to enjoy his last Russian summer, all that snow. But he's a great pick. He's a great addition. He can shoot the three, and he's going to be great. One of those real perimeter guys. A desperate need for the Cavs is a guy who can clip the three at a consistent basis, and that's exactly what they got with Sergei Karasev. He's 6'7" as well, so he's actually the same height as Anthony Bennett, but I'm gonna go with significantly smaller. I would imagine 197. Yeah, a little smaller than Anthony Bennett, to say the least. But actually the same height. So interesting enough. And the Bobcats. I just want to highlight the Bobcats real quick before we move on from the draft because they're one of my favorite teams when it comes to drafting.
Yeah.
Because it's just so fun. Because I love teams like that in all sports where things can be bad, but we can always look to certain teams and just be like, could be worse.
Right.
Hold your head up, and that's why the Charlotte Bobcats are here. They took Cody Zeller at number 4. Cody Zeller at number 4, while Alex Len and Nerlens Noel were both still available. I could kind of see maybe why they passed on Nerlens Noel, because Nerlens Noel to certain teams could end up being flowering into something phenomenal. But with the Bobcats' luck, I could see that being one of the biggest risks, and
Yeah, and he's never
just a
recovers
huge
from
loss.
his knee
Like
injury.
he never plays basketball again. I could see that if Charlotte drafted him. No, but taking Cody Zeller, that was probably the biggest reach of at least the top 10 all night. It was absolutely insane. I think another one that I see why they did it, but because I understand they do have Brandon Knight on the roster, but Detroit Pistons, you were on the clock and Trey Burke was there. I mean, I know they have Brandon Knight, but how great is Brandon Knight? You have a guy who plays at the school of your state. This is like the Cavaliers and an incredibly talented Buckeyes there. I mean, and you have the player of the year. He's the player of the year. It'd be like a couple of years ago if Ohio State had the number 1 pick and when Greg Oden was there. They would have had to go Greg Oden. Ultimately, Greg Oden, of course, turned out to be a bust and everything, so that's maybe not the best example to my point. But either way, Trey Burke's on the clock. Detroit is there, and they don't take him. That one it confuses me a little bit. But now he's going to Utah, and that should be very interesting to see. I think he's going to usurp Mo Williams pretty quickly. I think Mo Williams, he started out, was it last year when he first got there or whatever? He was having a pretty good run in Utah, but they sort of fizzled out. Now and who knows how things might look after an offseason with free agency and everything. So let's talk a little free agency. The Cavaliers have quite a bit of money they can spend. Will they? I'm not sure, because the elephant in the room, and whether you think this is happening or whether it's not, it has to at least be acknowledged, is the fact that LeBron James can opt out of his deal next offseason. I know it sounds awfully ridiculous, but the thing is, if there's even a chance of returning LeBron James of bringing in LeBron James to your team, how much do you do the year before? The organization really needs to sit down and think about the plan. Is you either wait and go all in next year, or you have to completely block him from your thoughts and say, we're not even going to try next offseason. Let's go out there and get things done right now. Because I mean, and you look at it, it's interesting enough, because everybody immediately wanted to say, when the Cavaliers suddenly realized they weren't going center, their glaring need from a starting role is a small forward, and they didn't go Otto Porter Jr., who a lot of people thought could be one of the best eventually in this draft. They didn't go for the guy that will develop into something great. They went for the guy who's good like now, and at a position they don't even necessarily need. Some say they almost purposely left the small forward position open. I don't agree with that.
I think that's
I don't have a flyer on Otto Porter Jr. I can't tell you what Chris Grant knows. I can tell you this for everyone that's still scratching their heads about Anthony Bennett. Who wasn't scratching their heads about after Tristan Thompson? And who wasn't scratching their heads after Deion Waiters? Both players went on to make first team all-rookie.
Yep.
Their respective years.
So, I mean, you can't... Dude knows what he's doing.
He clearly knows
what he's doing.
I don't like to ever be in a position in sports or much of anything where I just, like, blind faith. You know, I think blind faith can kill organizations. Look at the Cowboys with Jerry Jones. Not that they have a choice, but when you get to a point with someone where you say like, "Well, knows better," I'm not going to question this.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to get.
Obviously, you're not going to get it right every time.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. But I mean, even if Bennett doesn't work out, he's still 2 for 3.
That's
Waiters
true.
And Thompson.
Although you
Ryan,
hate to
Kyrie,
see in the position
3
we're
for
in,
4.
you can't. I think there was more pressure on this one than any other. No. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say that the only pick that had more pressure was Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, because obviously the Kyrie one is LeBron just left, and you need the new star of the future here. But this one is we're at a real cusp of what could be something really great with this team. A lot of early draft picks, a lot of young kids on this squad, and you're sitting there with the number 1 pick. I don't think you really can afford to whiff on this. If Bennett fizzles out and doesn't become anything special, I think this is a colossal failure. You can talk about how weak this draft is and everything, and everyone wants to. They want to be like, oh, this draft's so untalented and everything like that. But you know what? There's people here that are going to rise to the top. No one knows exactly where these people's ceilings are going to be. May I remind you, Darko Milicic was drafted number 2. A lot of somebody's thought that kid was going to be something special.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is you just don't know with a lot of these kids. Like everyone wants to talk about the year. It's funny, the 2 years the Cavaliers get the number 1 pick. People say it's probably the least talented draft class in some time. And one of them, of course, was with the Cavaliers was a couple years ago when they took Kyrie. Everyone said this was one of the weakest draft classes of all time. That year actually set the record for most foreign players drafted in the first round. This year broke that record for most foreign players drafted in the first round because so many people see so little talent in that class that they're like, well, let's go reach for something overseas because maybe there's something we didn't see because they're in France all year. But either way, people want to say that draft class was so untalented, yet the Cavaliers walked out of it with Kyrie Irving, an all-star, a superstar, a centerpiece of this team, and Tristan Thompson, a guy who's an all-NBA, all first-team rookie or whatever in his rookie year. And in his second year, led the team in a bunch of statistical categories. In fact, he started more games than anybody else. I want to say he was 80 games played, 80 games started last year. Almost didn't miss any time, Tristan. But, I mean, it's the fact of the matter is people want to say how untalented classes are and stuff, but you don't know yet. You can't evaluate it yet until it's time. I mean, like 03, people thought was like, oh, this is really talented. This is really nice and stuff. Nobody knew at the time that in 2003 we would see one of, if not the greatest draft classes of all time. Really, of course, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, whatever, Carmelo Anthony, and of course our good friend Darko Milicic. Yeah. But you just don't know. So you can't listen to all the talking heads and everything go on and on about how untalented a draft class is, or really questioning the move of Anthony Bennett yet. You can't question anything until he's been on the court. But either way, let's look at free agency here. The biggest names are, of course, Chris Paul. Chris Paul announcing today via Twitter that he signed for, what was it? What were the numbers on that
107.
deal? 107.
For 5 years.
5-year extension.
5 years, 107 mil.
He wasn't leaving. Why would you leave? In his situation, right now I'd leave the Lakers. I would. But I would not leave the Clippers. There's just too much right going on right now.
Yeah.
They're going the opposite direction of the Lakers. And this time that actually means something good.
Right?
Doc Rivers is now the head coach. DeAndre Jordan's a young up-and-comer. Blake freaking Griffin is getting better by the day. It's so ideal. I don't see why you leave. It's a destination. It's a spot where, especially with Doc there now, Chris Paul can come back to LA, and now he can sit there and he can try to lure somebody else to come in there. I don't know financially if there's room for a Dwight Howard and everything like that, but I mean, you could certainly look at some guys one level under that and try to get in talks with them about joining up with the Clippers. But of course, the defending champion Miami Heat. I think this is kind of funny here. Is this year they only have 2 free agents at all, just 2. Is they have Chris Anderson and Juwan Howard, 2 guys that averaged nothing and played barely any minutes. So it doesn't really matter. Then you look at next year. These are their unrestricted free agents for 2014 for the Miami Heat. Ray Allen, Joel Anthony, Shane Battier, Chris Bosh, Mario Chalmers, Udonis Haslem, LeBron James, James Jones, Rashard Lewis, Mike Miller, Dwayne Wade. Basically the team. That is, I believe, the rest of the roster. You can add in also Jarvis Varnado, who I don't even know who that is, restricted. But they've got almost the entire team's contract expires next year. Again, that's with Bosh. Of course, Bosh, LeBron, and Dwayne Wade all have an early termination option right there. So, I mean, it next year can kind of determine a lot of things.
Yeah.
Whether they go three-peat. I mean, because at that point, do you leave because you know you can break the bank and stuff? Or do you or do you also look at it like, I have 3 rings, so I can kind of just go wherever I want now? It's not about necessarily, like, I don't have to have the titles anymore. Or, if they lose, do they try to start it somewhere else? Or at some point, do none of them opt out? Because if you've won a third one, or we know they've at least won 2 together, there's got to be at least a train of thought of why wouldn't you continue doing this? But everybody in the media, let's be honest, like the ESPN guys and everything, they want LeBron to opt out so badly. Because everybody, that was the biggest story ever. Everybody wants to do that again, except maybe Cleveland. Well, now Cleveland maybe wants that to happen. I mean, everybody wants the decision too. Maybe you put all 3 of them up there on like a 1-hour TV special, and they each one announces where they're going. I don't know. It's absolutely ridiculous. Another name being kicked around right now, and I use the word kick because the Cavs are quote unquote kicking the tires on this guy. Andrew Bynum is one that the Cavaliers are at least going to reportedly look at. I think that is a disaster waiting to happen. I think if you can get him to some kind of 1-year deal, maybe. But at that point, I'd say, why bother? Because I don't like giving this guy the max contract for the max length of time. I don't want to give him a max deal, and I know that that's what he wants, and that's what he thinks he'll get. The thing is, the salary cap changes a little bit this year. It's going to start getting harsher to be violating that salary cap now. The luxury tax is going to start getting bad starting this offseason, which means the Cavaliers, Cleveland is not a destination spot. We all know that. We wish it was, but it's not. It's not a place where people usually end up. Where people usually, I should say, like seek out of their own accord and everything. But the fact is, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be holding out for some deals that maybe last offseason would have got those deals, but this offseason they won't.
Yeah.
And it's going to leave teams like the Cavaliers in a perfect position when you get certain guys sitting there like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And they say, hey, you need somewhere to play. Why don't you come on over for maybe a year or 2 years or whatever? It's going to leave the Cavaliers. There's going to be a lot of pieces that the Cavaliers are going to be able to go out there and scoop up. One name in particular that the Cavaliers are reportedly interested in, and a lot of people keep bringing up, is another guy at the center position from Minnesota. Is Nikola Pekovic, is a guy that the Cavaliers are looking at to go with another center. But I don't know. I there's a part of me that still thinks maybe that possibly Anderson Varejao will actually get traded this offseason. I mean, with all the acquisitions and stuff, it gives you more time with Tristan at center, leaving power forward open more for Bennett. And I just think this is the last year to trade Andy, because this is the last year of his contract. And I'm not saying he won't re-sign with Cleveland. I'm just saying age is starting to catch up with him. Everybody's aware at this point that he hasn't finished a season in, I want to say, 3 years. I mean, the question is, I know he's a fan favorite and everybody loves the guy, but the fact of the matter is, if this is his last season, do you want him back? Do you want to re-sign him to, how big of a deal are you going to realistically re-sign this guy to next offseason? I mean, how many years? How many years is he going to be? Like, at some point, he's just going to die, right?
That's a little exaggerated.
Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he keeps getting hurt worse and worse. This year was a blood clot in his lung, or whatever it was. I mean, it started with a hand injury.
No luck.
Every
year he gets better, but then he gets hurt when he gets a worse injury. It makes
He's
no
got
sense.
Soft paper mache bones.
It makes no
sense. I don't know what to
sense.
say. It's just, I worry about
Poor
him
guy.
walking, that he's going to hurt himself.
Yeah.
He should be in a wheelchair whenever he's not playing.
Wrapped in bubble wrap.
Exactly. Wrap him head to toe in bubble wrap. There's another Brazilian kid that got taken in the draft this year with hair kind of like Varejao. Maybe it's changing the guards. This kid's the new Andy. Andy's going to go retire wherever crazy-haired Brazilians retire to. Probably Brazil. But, no, I mean, it's just, he's getting up there. He's going to be 30, right, if my math is correct.
That's old in sports years.
That's old in sports years no matter what, let alone the fact
you're injury prone,
that you're injury prone and you make a living on being a high-energy guy. the high motor running around everywhere, That's how we got the wild thing. It's not just the hair. It's that he's crazy. He's running around, jumping around. He used to flop all the time, but that's another story. I don't know. I worry it may be the end of the wild thing, but all in the name of progress, I guess. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, you're going to find out what's urinating us off. We're going to talk about some MLB standings, where the Indians are right now. It's changed today, if you haven't noticed. All-star voting, all that, and so much more. You listen to High on Sports on the MSC Radio Network.
You're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network. Call the show toll free. 1-888-668-0742. You're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network on morningshowcentral.com. The following message is for those with a credit score of 800 and below. Who wouldn't want better credit? Did you ever wonder how different life would be from just having a higher credit score? Are you tired of being turned down for any kind of loan, or only offered high interest rates because your credit score is holding you prisoner? Life doesn't have to be that way anymore with access to Turnscor. By increasing your credit score only 50 to 100 points, it can potentially save you tens of thousands of dollars in interest over just a 5 to 10 year period. It can be the difference in getting approved for a personal loan, business loan, high limits on credit cards, a brand new car lease, or even a home mortgage. We see so many ads from companies that give us our credit score, but once we get our credit score, what are they going to do to actually repair your credit? Unfortunately, nothing. Until now, Turnscor is the first automated credit repair platform that is simple, safe, and secure. You'll be empowered right from the comfort of your own computer, so you can challenge and repair your credit report to ensure it's fair and accurate. Turnscor is specifically developed with you in mind. There's no more need for an attorney, credit repair companies, or credit counseling. More importantly, no more need for paying higher fees. Turnscor will help you get back on track and get the buying power you need. So whether you have bad credit, average credit, or even good credit, Turnscor is helping turn lives around one credit score at a time. Go to turnscore.com and enter the promo code MSC20 and get $20 off your purchase. That's TURNSCOR.com. TURNSCOR.com. Turnscore.com. Looking for reliable and affordable shoutcast audio or video hosting? JWN Media offers complete shoutcast hosting solutions for business or personal use. All plans come with full listener stats, custom web scripts for implementing your service into your existing website, full server control, super fast network, and huge bandwidth limits. A 99.5% uptime guarantee and friendly, knowledgeable support personnel dedicated to making your hosting experience fun and easy. With plans starting at only $3 a month, you have no excuse not to get a server of your own. Plus, with the option to add auto DJ and on-demand services, you can be confident your station will be all it can be. Custom plans are also available at their website. Simply visit jwnmedia.com and click the Shoutcast hosting link to get started right now. Hey, local bands and unsigned artists, what if I told you there was a place in Cleveland where you can get your merch made and have it sold in one location? What if I said you could bring your CDs and tickets to upcoming shows to this location? And what if I said you could do live acoustic sets at this location? I bet you're thinking there's no such place in Cleveland. Guess what? You'd be wrong. Contact Rick Navario at Rock City, Cleveland, and tell him you need merch made and you want to sell it in his store. Now, how cool is that? You can tell your fans to come down and get your stuff, and I think he'd ship your products to your fans. And he's local. Contact Rick Navario at Rock City, Cleveland today. 216-622-0377. That's 216-622-0377. If you have a product or service, let people know about it. Get your message out there and advertise on MSC Radio Network. It's easier than you think, and the whole planet is listening. Find out how you can advertise. Email Chris at morningshowcentral.com.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms.
You're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network. Heat 99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. Jumping from one web host to another can be frustrating. Finding a good web host can be unnerving for even the most experienced of web designers. That's why Uncensored Net Noise has chosen P99 Technologies Technologies as its web hosting supplier. Established in 1999, P99 Technologies has evolved into a first-class web hosting provider. Its 99.9% uptime rivals many in the industry. That's why they offer their 30-day guarantee, no questions asked. For more information, go to P99.com. P99 Technologies will help you get started with your web presence with honest and expert customer service. P99 Technologies. Affordable and reliable web hosting done right. If you're looking for the best in musical equipment, recording gear, sound reinforcement, and more, Guitar Center has you covered. Guitar Center, located at 26635 Brook Park Road in North Olmsted, has the tools of your trade with the largest selection of music and sound gear in the area. They cater to your musical needs and have the knowledge to help you out. Guitar Center in North Olmsted. MorningShowCentral.com uses them. You should too. Need to know more? Go to GuitarCenter.com. With hundreds of live weather products and layers and thousands of combinations, Weather Studio provides a professional graphics and store monitoring solution without complex user knowledge and without the industry standard price tag of $1,000 plus broadcast systems. Weather Studio displays a plethora of critical atmospheric and geophysical data on an interactive GIS-enabled computer map. Get your free 14-day trial of Weather Studio at their website, weatherstudio.paulmarv.com. That's weatherstudio.paulmarv.com. Lakewood Computer, located at 14035 Madison Avenue in Lakewood, has it all. If you're in need of computer repairs or want to cut the cost of ink cartridges and printing supplies, count on Lakewood Computer in Lakewood, Ohio to provide it all. For the past 5 years, Lakewood Computer has been providing you with a huge assortment of computer equipment and services at very competitive prices. Lakewood Computer purchases and sells pre-owned desktops, laptops, and related equipment, and they offer outstanding prices on aftermarket printing supplies, including toner cartridges and ink cartridges. With 29 years of professional experience, Lakewood Computer is highly confident in their ability to enhance your overall computing experience. Check them out online at joeslakewoodcomputer.com. That's joeslakewoodcomputer.com. Or give them a call toll-free, 855-580-0768. That's 855-580-0768. User-friendly and ready to serve. MorningShowCentral.com. Oh, great. Not another Farmville request. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/morningshowcentral. Denying one Farmville request at a time.
I know. Oh my God, I know what we're gonna do. Oh, it's so delicious, I can almost taste it.
If you're looking for the best sub shop in town, look no further. Hanini Subs, located at 7310 Lorraine Avenue, is the place for you. Stop in for a cold cut sub, cheeseburger and fries, wingdings and fries, and so much more. And almost taste Hanini Subs at 7310 Lorraine Avenue is open 24 hours a day. Check them out on Facebook, facebook.com/burrito crazy. And if you mention MSC Radio Network, you'll get $1 off your meal. It's all good at Hanini Subs.
So damn good. Oh, wow. Language.
Okay, he was PMSing.
You're listening to Morning Show Central Radio Network.
Hello and welcome back to High on Sports. I'm Ralphie, and with me, as always,
Ashley.
And I am Von Erich.
and whether you are joining us tonight on your computer or on one of the many glorious apps, thank you for making High on Sports a part of your evening. If you are not on one of those many glorious apps, remember to search for TuneIn Radio at the App Store on your smartphone. It is free to download, install it, search MSC Radio Network, hit play, and you're listening to us on the go. Also hit heart, put in your favorites. You can come back all the time, every day. And remember, as always, you can call the show toll-free, 1-888-668-0742. Email your questions or comments to shows with an S at morningshowcentral.com. Twitter is at high_on_sports or with the hashtag high-on-sports. Facebook.com/high-on-sports. And the website is high-on-sports.net. You got the archive of all our past shows, my blog, and a bunch of other fun stuff. You can go look back on my mock draft, which has 3 correct picks, as we figured out earlier in the show, not 2. So I'm even better than I thought, but still pretty bad. High-on-sports.net. All right, it's time for round 2. Let's go. All right, it's time for a staple of High on Sports, and that is, of course, what's urinating us off. And we're going to start, as we always do, with Von Erich. Von Erich, what do you got?
Well, Indians minor leaguer Dylan Howard, if you haven't heard of him, I don't really blame you. It's, his only season with us, he went 1-7 with a 7.90 ERA and A-ball. Been suspended 50 games for banned substance in Major League Baseball policy, but the problem I'm hearing, you get a lot of comments, a lot of people saying, oh, that means he's injecting stuff into his rear end, pardon my language. But what people don't seem to realize is there's a lot of stuff that they can't take that's over the counter that people use frequently, like certain forms of Neosporin. They can't use. Neosporin itself is fine, but if you get like the more expensive model, if you will.
For real?
Yeah, there's certain protein bars they can't have.
Oh, wait, let's go back to Neosporin for just a second, because you're talking about like the higher grade stuff, right?
Yeah, like the stuff that it actually has steroids in it that help you.
Well, the thing is, like, if I'm a baseball player, I'm well off than most people, sure.
So you,
Yeah.
So
you have more
and
money
my
to spend.
body is my tool. It is my earning device. So if I get hurt, if I get a cut or something, I want to be sure I don't get sick or infected or whatever. I'm gonna use this extra wealth I have to buy the better Neosporin, and it's gonna cost me my job. This is stupid.
Yeah, that seems a
Well,
little
I'm not saying that's
ridiculous.
what happened here with.
Well, true. Obviously, we're not saying.
Yeah,
that
it hasn't been
We're not
released yet.
saying he's innocent, but we're not saying he's guilty. So, I mean, that's just Neosporin. There's a bunch of weird stuff like that I've heard though, where it's just. I mean, well, you have a list, right? It's.
Well, I don't have a list of the banned substances, but certain
sure.
protein bars, like the energy shakes, like the breakfast shakes, like Slim Fast.
I'm a busy guy. I don't have time to make a whole breakfast.
They have to avoid products that have that might have ginseng, fish oils.
That means the teas with ginseng and honey. Nope.
So they can't take fish oil?
No fish oil? Oh, great.
Well, just certain types. It's hard to determine what.
It's really difficult to just
What's
go
in a
somewhere
certain
and like
product,
eat.
if you
like, I
see
can't walk into
ginseng
like
on
a
it.
Walgreens or something and like pick some stuff out because like 8 of the things like almost everything you just listed I can find like at like a Walgreens or something.
Yeah, there's
just over the counter, just run of the mill.
There's certain lotions that you use for bug bites
God.
that has steroids in it, and that'll show up on a test.
Ugh, that's
But
ridiculous.
we're not saying that this certain individual, Dylan Howard, was using something over the counter. Odds are it was probably amphetamines or Adderall.
Sure.
That's just my guess, though. We don't know for sure.
Yeah,
but people don't really know that it could be any little thing that they got from like you said, a Walgreens or any drugstore, or say they get some protein from GNC. Anyone can walk into a GNC and they might not know that something illegal is in that jar of powder.
Wow.
And just people are ignorant to the whole thing, and that's what urinates me off. They think he's injecting like a vial full of steroids right into his rectum.
Well, that's because that's what, like, back in the day, that was the way you got steroids. You injected roids into your butt. But now it's in freaking everything. I just think it's over the top. Because, I mean, how much steroids can you get out of lotion or
I think
Neosporin?
it's one of those things where, like, it's kind of funny. It's like in the NBA, they have obviously drug policies and everything, and like as well, they don't reveal what it is. So, which kind of makes me wonder. A lot of sports do that. It's like it makes me wonder when the player admits to Adderall or whatever. Like, was it Adderall? Because if the league's not going to come out and say what it is, and you immediately come out, you're like, Adderall, my bad.
Yeah.
It's just
sorry.
like, really? Because like it sounds like you're admitting to maybe the nicest thing that you could be taking to cheat.
Yeah,
like
because the league won't say confirm.
And
because
one last thing that can get you a false positive on a steroid test is also medication for certain STDs. We're not saying that Dylan Howard.
Especially, well, I'm just saying in the minor leagues, every once in a while you got to have one of those slump busters. You familiar with that term?
Yes, I'm familiar with
slump
that.
buster. If anyone out there isn't, Google it. It's
Sexy time.
Exactly. I'll tell you, for those of you who don't know what a slump buster is, when you're in the minors and you're hitting poorly, when you're on the road, you find the ugliest girl you can, you take her home, and you do the maritals, And supposedly the myth is.
That's the best way I've ever heard put it.
I don't know what I was supposed to say. I'm on a. Kids could be listening. I don't know. And then it's supposed to take you out of your slump and get you back on track.
Well,
it's all superstition.
You picked the wrong slump buster.
It's all superstition. Clearly.
Got the clap or
No,
something.
no, we're not saying.
Allegedly. No one's saying.
Allegedly.
No one is saying.
We're saying that
It happens.
it happens.
These things happen. We're not saying they did.
Your STD medication, because I mean that has steroids in it. Because like to get rid of infections, have some form of steroids in them.
It's true. That's very
Even
true.
if he went in for a breathing treatment, it has steroids in them. Let's say he lost his breath or something like that, or whatever the case may be, and he went in for a breathing treatment at a hospital. Yeah, that has steroids.
The only thing is with that would be more like on the record. Like the league would know that he.
Not really if he's taking one of those
in the
inhalers
hospital and stuff.
for like asthma.
That's true. That's true, but.
I just feel
It's like Paul Bird. When Paul Bird was found positive.
Wasn't that HGH?
Well, yeah, but it was HGH. But I'm just saying, like, then he claimed, like, it was for cancer, and it was like,
No.
if you had cancer, you probably would have given the league a heads up or something.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have been like, I have cancer. Let's just be hush hush about that. I have to go to work tomorrow. Like, yeah,
All
you
right,
say
don't
something.
tell anyone.
I don't know. Thank you, Von Eric. I wanna share my urinating off now. It is something about the Indians. It's almost confusion, really. This half's baseball. We're going baseball this half.
I'm good with it.
This was our commercial break that we had here was our break between the seasons. Baseball is number one now. There is no NBA draft to prognosticate correctly or incorrectly. There's baseball, and it's going on, and it's right now. It's here. It's in the moment. All-Star game coming up. We'll get into the voting a little bit in a minute. But this is us bringing in. The first half was our end of basketball. It's time to move forward with baseball now. Baseball is going on. It is the thing to talk about.
Almost halfway through the season.
Almost halfway through the season.
Pittsburgh
now
Pirates,
becomes
best
number one.
team.
Jesus, who would saw that one?
First team
I
to
saw
50
it 1
wins.
year ago.
You did see it 1 year ago.
As I saw the Baltimore Orioles being good 1 year prior to.
Every time you're like, you're just a little off. You're just
It's
a
a little
year
early,
off.
buddy.
I'm just jumping the gun.
Here's
A
what I
little
want to
early.
know. This is kind of what's irritating me off. What the hell are we doing with Trevor Bauer? How many? Is this the third time we've called him up this year?
And then send
Every
right back
time
down.
we call him up, we send him out
It
there.
seems to be
and then
out
we
of
put him right
necessity,
back.
though, when we
It's
call
spot
him up.
starts. But I mean, when is the time to bring this kid up and have him consistently face major league talent?
I think he's learned all he can learn at the AAA level
Exactly.
and the minor league level, for that matter. But do we have the room for him? He has the options that we can move him around kind of at our leisure.
That's true.
So that works
Just kind
in
of
our
taking
favor.
advantage of the fact that you can move him.
So that's what it comes down to. If he didn't have options, I think he would definitely be on the major league roster.
Do you think this
Without question.
season is when he makes his permanent jump? Like he officially becomes a major league baseball player?
By the end of the year, yes. He
You
will
think so?
be.
You think he finishes this year
Yeah, and-
on the major league level?
Yeah, and makes it to the postseason roster.
Ooh. That'll be
That's
fun.
what I like to
about
hear.
that?
That's what I like.
That's bold. Let's keep talking about the
I'm
Indians
just
here.
saying. Well,
They did something pretty good today. They did well, in that they haven't done anything today. But it's obviously it's an off day for the Indians. They're not playing today.
get some rest, boys.
But while resting, the Detroit Tigers lost 8-3 to the Toronto Blue Jays,
Guess who's in first?
putting the Indians in sole possession of first place in the American League Central Division.
Feels good
with
to be
a
back.
half-game lead, 44-38, as opposed to 43-38.
Feels
the
good
Indians,
to be
yes,
back.
now sitting with a half-game advantage over the Tigers. And who should be coming to town? A
Oh.
4-game series starting tomorrow. It's 4-game, right? I'm correct.
Sure.
4-game.
Wait, what's tomorrow? Tuesday?
Yeah.
Let's add a fifth.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's Dollar Dog Night. Boom.
Then
That's
who
a
did?
4.
No, I thought the Detroit series was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I'm wrong. They're about
Yeah.
to play Kansas City in Kansas.
Yep.
I mean, in Missouri. I'm all over the place wrong right now. The Indians are about to play the Kansas City Royals. You didn't let me finish. I
Yeah.
said who should be coming. I said who should be showing up. You didn't.
Yeah.
You just assumed I meant Detroit. I meant Kansas City, and I meant us showing up there. Anyway,
Well, you're a few days ahead, 3 days ahead of schedule.
Cleveland and Kansas City duking it out once again, of course. Let's have a look at the schedule here and see when they are playing Detroit.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday
Monday.
is Dollar Dog Night. I was
Yes.
right about that. So get your butt to that
I think
game.
Saturday is Omar Vizquel bobblehead day.
Whoa, that sounds
No,
awesome.
maybe Sunday. It's Saturday or Sunday. One of those days is Omar bobblehead day.
Well, we close out this half of the season technically.
Yep, 10-game homestand to close out.
Nice. That's what I like.
All right. We've got Kansas City for the next 3. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. We've got Kluber, Casimir, and Jimenez taking the mound. Masterson will be going at it against Porcello against Detroit on Friday, July 5th. That'll be fun to see. By the way, of course,
gotta take that one.
4th of July on Thursday, Jimenez versus Shields in Kansas City, a 2:10 start time in the afternoon. And they'll be
Ooh, I
wearing
like
a hat with a little red, white, and blue Chief
Happy
Wahoo,
birthday, America.
American flag, Chief Wahoo on it. Or maybe
Yeah.
the C? Will they go the C or Wahoo?
It'll be the C.
It'll probably
Yeah,
be
it's
the
usually
C.
the C when they do
they've
special
already,
stuff.
we discussed this before in a urinating off several years ago around the 4th of July time. Them not producing the Chief Wahoo with the American flag
Let's
logo
be honest.
anymore.
A Native American with the United States flag imprinted over their face is sort of a literal and metaphorical slap in the face, isn't it? It'd be like when we beat.
I still
it'd
think
be
it
like-
looks cool.
I'm just saying it's like when we beat Michigan, when Ohio State beats Michigan every year. If then the next day we had T-shirts with the Michigan logo in scarlet and gray, it would just seem like a little like
Well.
all right. Anyways, either way, Masterson versus
Or seeing
Porcello.
Ty's face painted up
Well,
in,
now that's glorious.
in Michigan blue with
Now
the Ohio
that's-
State logo.
It's glorious seeing him get his face all scarlet and gray.
I mean, he for some
Beautiful
reason
sight.
he thinks that they can win.
I know it's a little embarrassing.
One time in like 9 years? Come on.
Yep.
Come on.
Either way, the Indians have not announced their starter for the Saturday, July 6th game against Detroit at 4:05. They will have Alvarez on the mound. Who does that leave in the rotation? Kluber, Casimir, Jimenez, Masterson. Who's the 5th guy? Do they even know?
No, they don't know.
Ugh.
They have a bunch of options that they can just plug in
That's
at any
true.
given time.
That's true. Maybe they'll call up Bauer again. And then Kluber will go on Sunday against Detroit, and that's the furthest they've announced their starting
Whatever happened to
rotation.
that one guy we signed from? He played for Houston. He was Brett Myers.
Brett Myers? Yeah, he got
He was
hurt.
supposed to be the number 3 guy, solid innings eater.
He got hurt, I want to say, and they've just recently announced that when he returns, it will be to the bullpen. He will not be returning as a starter. So I don't know who the Tribe's 5th starter is. The Tribe doesn't know who the Tribe's 5th starter is. It's going to be interesting to see. We were talking a little bit about we're not going to name names or anything, but we've been hearing on some shows and stuff that people suggesting that the Indians trade Santana
Ugh.
because of Yan Gomes, obviously waiting in the wings, sort of proving people that he can do this on a regular basis. And Santana, people are quick to point out, he's a bit of a defensive liability, sure. But some people want to move him, and the thing that people want, obviously for the Indians, is starting pitching. Now, what gets me about that is people don't seem to realize that if you want to trade for something, that other thing has to exist. You can't just say, we'll move Santana, we'll get a pitcher and stuff. I even heard someone today suggest moving Mark Reynolds for some pitching. What is the scenario where Mark Reynolds gets traded to someone for starting pitching? If that person has a talented pitching, how does this work? Are they in it and they're gonna give up a starting pitcher for Mark Reynolds? Because Mark Reynolds won't push him over the top more than a starting pitcher would. And if they're out of it, why do they want Mark Reynolds on a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
You don't. There's almost no way you move Mark Reynolds unless we move him somewhere contending for cash. But I don't see that happening because we would have to have colossal implosion through the rest of this month for that to be a viable option, and I don't think it is. And furthermore, you don't just trade Santana, and then you don't just sort of like throw him in the air and then some pitchers
And
fall down.
starting pitchers
where
just
did
start
these
raining
come
from the
from?
sky. That's like you have to have a team that has that starting pitcher that is good
Exactly.
enough that because we're not just going to trade him for some bum. We will be fine with what
we've
have.
already done that.
So,
Ubaldo Jimenez.
so if we're going to trade him for pitching, it's going to be a high quality starting pitcher, and you have to find a team who would need a catcher.
Exactly.
Who would be willing to give up a high quality starting pitcher?
The available starting pitching
can't just
at
All right,
the
go ahead,
trade
Von Erich.
deadline. Usual suspects involved, or the teams are concerned. From the Marlins, Steve Cizek and Ricky Nolasco. From the Phillies, Jonathan Papelbon and Cliff Lee, and PV Sale and who's the other guy? PV and Sale from the White Sox,
I
Matt
really want
Garza
Chris
from
Sale.
the Cubs, Bud Norris from the Astros, and a guy I would like to see on our team, Yvonne Gallardo from the Brewers.
Ooh, that would be nice. That would be nice. They'd want a pretty penny in return from him, though. We'll see. We got a whole month of trade talk and fun little scenarios to make up and discuss and all that. So 3 up, 3 down time. Down number 3, Josh Beckett. The LA Dodger will have season-ending surgery to relieve pressure on a nerve in his neck. Down number 2, Oscar Walcott, undrafted linebacker accused of murder and then cut by the Browns. Down number 1, Aaron Hernandez, arrested this week, accused of as many as 3 murders and cut by the Patriots.
Yeah, because he got arrested
Talk about
for
one up in the Walcott.
and then they're investigating him for a double homicide a couple months ago.
Up number 3, the LA Clippers. Chris Paul confirms today that he will be returning to the Clippers for a 5-year, $107 million extension. Up number 2, the Pittsburgh Pirates with Saturday's 2-1 victory over the Brewers. They became Major League Baseball's first 50-win team this season. Who would have thunk it? Nobody, that's who. And up number 1, Anthony Bennett, the UNLV forward, small or power, depending on who he has, selected number 1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers, making him the highest drafted Canadian of all time. In basketball history, of course, not any other one, because that would probably be hockey. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Next week, we've got more Indians talk. We've got more. We'll be breaking down the MLB All-Star Game is just around the corner.
Oh.
All that and so much more.
Kipnis.
Exactly. Kipnis.
Nasty.
Vote Kipnis. I don't
Second.
think
Yeah,
you can vote
exactly.
anymore.
Get out there. Kipnis. I think Kipnis will be there. But that's going to do it for us this week. So for Chris, for Von Erich, for Ashley, I'm Robbie saying good night, everybody. We will see you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for listening to High on Sports on MorningShowCentral.com.
And don't inject that crap in your butt anymore.
All right.